Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the final time this weekend. It is time to close the program, the Sunday program of this weekend, and also with the Renault Twingo Cup series. This is actually a third out of 4 weekends in this year's championship, and we are here at the very end of this weekend's program completely, so the last race of the day. Cars already on the starting grid. The Renault Twingos, of course, they had a race yesterday, and it was an exciting one, needs to be said. Marko Blaževský in the predominantly green car scored a victory with a smart tactics towards the end. He had a fight with Tyko Vacic, who was trying to come out on top, however finished second on the road, but after the race his car was found underweight and therefore Kovacic was excluded from race 1 results. Now it is a second race of the weekend, and this is your starting grid with Luca Flerin actually taking a spot on pole position, first row. Alongside him, the Czech driver Lukáš Holík. Second row it is Matyáš Kučera, and alongside him Stefan Trenesky, the young Macedonian. Trojsovička, car number 121 in P5, and alongside him yesterday's winner Marko Blaževský, Giovanni Grasso in P7, and next to him Nikola Jančič. We then have Václav Janík Jr. starting P9, Roman Roubíček joining him on row number 5 in 10th. Karolina Průšová in 11th, and alongside her Anton Jus in P12, Pavel Sovička 13th, with Bojan Šeme alongside in P14. Nick Stefancic, a multiple champion of this championship from past years. Bad luck for him yesterday, as after a contact with one of his rivals, he punched one of his wheels and chipped a little bit off his wheel rim, which also punctured the tyre, so he had to finish the race with an empty tyre. In the end, he did not even complete the full distance and had to stop 2 laps from home, and today therefore starts 15th, the championship leader as well, Nick Stefancic. So he is looking forward to an afternoon full of racing action and full of overtaking. Alongside him, Oliver Steiner in P16, and then it is Zalrezar. Ended up in the gravel trap yesterday, so starts P17 today, and alongside him in P18, Tyko Vacic, as I mentioned, excluded from yesterday's results. We have the cars on the grid with final preparations taking place, so basically everybody just waiting for the signal. 16, 24, 30 right now, so I believe that in 15 seconds we will receive the 15-second signal. Still some spectators remaining here in the grandstands mostly. It's, however, emptying just like the paddock, and this is the, typical sad feeling of the racing weekend coming to an end when, of course, after all the major events already finished, the paddock is getting empty. But we still have one race on our hands, and I believe it is going to be an exciting one, just as what we know from Renault Twingo Cup racing. So it is 1 minute. Yeah, looks like 1 minute. Therefore, that means that everybody has to leave the grid, but the cars and their drivers. Nick Stefancic arrived in Slovakia as the championship leader, and although he did not score any points yesterday, he still remains in the first place, mainly also because his main rival in the championship so far, Nick Poljanec, who took victory in both races the last time out in Most, is not running here this weekend and also missed the opening round which also took place here in Slovakia, but in June that was part of the European Truck Racing Championship weekend. In a couple of weeks' time we will also have the season finale in Brno in the Czech Republic, but it was Nick Stefancic victorious in both races in the opening round here in Slovakia, nearly 3 months back. Then both races won by Nick Polianec in Most. And yesterday it was actually Marko Blaževský who came here as the 4th man overall, scored a victory, first of the season. But it is definitely going to be interesting to see who is going to come out on top in today's race. It will be Luca Flarin on pole position, currently reaching turn number 3 in his predominantly orange Renault Twingo. Behind him the Czech driver Lukáš Holík arrived here with 16 points to his name and P9 in the championship, and definitely improving on his positions, because not all the contestants that we've had in the championship so far are also taking part. There were some, let's say, regularities that had to be clarified before this weekend, which means some cars are missing this weekend as well. But still, it is a 18-strong field in today's race. (5,922 meters). The formation lap, of course, ongoing. Tight and twisty middle sector. It does take some time before the cars reach the start and finish straight again. Mind you, their fastest lap times in qualifying reached just over 3 minutes in comparison to everything else that we've seen racing here this weekend. Those were mostly times in the region of 2 minutes. The fastest cars even dipping below that marker. However, the Renault Twingo is a different sort of machine. 999cc 3-cylinder engine with 74 brake horsepower. But the engine's in the back, which makes it a baby Porsche. So there we are at the end of the formation lap. Everybody finding their grid slots. And as they do, we will go racing one more time here in Slovakia to top off what was and what has been, I believe, a beautiful weekend at the end of August. So there we are, we have the green flag up in the air and everything is ready for the race to be started. The red lights are on and we are underway in Slovakia with Luca Flarin starting from pole position, keeping the first place across the first meters, but look at everybody else, reeling him in immediately, using a bit of slipstream and about to engage in a lot of pushing, and Luca Flarin has already lost the lead. It is Mateusz Kučera who tried to attempt the overtake, however he has got further two Twingos down the inside. There must be Lukáš Holík and also Stefan Trenesky in the fight for the race lead. Everybody's reaching the first hill. And down again we go. Bit of dust still after one of the crashes earlier on in the GT sprint race. There we are, car number 427 leading. That's Stefan Trenesky. Arrived here as the third placed man in the championship, now being pushed by yesterday's winner, Marko Blaževský, in the green Twingo. Over the second hill we go, and Marko Blaževský will try to make a move for the race lead. No, he doesn't, which leaves Trenesky still in the lead of the race. A lot of cars with their front bumpers not really matching the body color, which just tells you that contact is something that the races cannot really go without. And the consumption of the body parts across the year is actually rather big, although they get taped over multiple times. Matyáš Kučera, the blue car number 33, with Trojsovička right behind him in the pale blue car. And I believe that Kovačič made rather a good getaway from the back of the field. Car number 706, that is Giovanni Grasso, leading this group, in which we also find the pole sitter, Luca Flerin. He lost a couple of places at the start. But this is the top trio. And there are already some contacts, body parts hanging off the cars. This is 173, Lukáš Holík. He was on the front row of the grid, now dragging his rear bumper on the ground. One of the cars going sideways after a contact. That will probably be Václav Janík Jr., the car number 88, engaging in an aggressive fight. His dad, of course, being present also on the starting grid right before the race to watch his son in what is only his third ever race. Hasn't done any go-karting. So these are the initial steps, not only for him, but actually for a lot of drivers quite often. So pushing each other along the pit straight after the opening lap. Giovanni Grasso here in fourth place ahead of the pole sitter Luca Flerin, while it is Stefan Trenesky still leading from Marko Blaževský, Nikola Jančić up to third. Then it is Grasso from Flerin and Nick Stefancic from all the way down somewhere in the second to last row. He is already up to sixth. Great opening lap for the multiple series champion Nick Stefancic. Definitely knows his way around. Not only the track but also the car. Everybody pushing each other. They know that they need to cooperate together. Ooh, but careful, careful, because Flerin was starting to go sideways, had to correct his car a little bit. Now trying to push himself along together with Stefancic. Stefancic helping him happily. And look at the first two, they are trying to break for it. And away from everybody else. Stefancic around the outside of Giovanni Grasso. Little bit of locking up even. And there we go, it is Matyáš Kučera with actually his brother right behind him, Trojsovička. Ooh, and look at that, down the inside goes Kovačič, overtaking both of them. So the Czech drivers tried to help each other, but they actually helped each other off the racing line, and Kovačič tries to sneak his way through. But they are cooperating once again, and around the outside they go, bringing themselves around and ahead of Kovačič. Hard under braking again, Kovačič attacking once more. Staying at least ahead of Trojsovička. Then they also have Giovanni Grasso right ahead of them in P4. I beg your pardon, that would not be P4, because of course they've now got two groups ahead of themselves. There we have Stefan Treneski and Marko Blaževski as the leading duo. Then it is Luka Flerin, your pole sitter, in third, being pushed by Nick Stefancic, together with Nikola Jancic, trying to stay together with them. And then in P6 it is actually Giovanni Grasso, Kovacic overtaking on the inside. Mateusz Kuchera trying to stay together with him. Already his right-hand side rear-view mirror coming loose, definitely being of no use anymore. It's just flapping around, so he doesn't really see what's happening on the right-hand side of him. And if Troj Sovička sees that, he can definitely try and use that for his advantage. Sovička still working together with his brother. And through they go. Ooh, Giovanni Grasso in a bit of trouble through the first corner. Definitely not having the best of exits. And now losing ground. Kuchera and Sovička are through. So is Kovacic. Nick Stefancic in the meantime setting the fastest lap of the race in 3 minutes 1 second, .542. Still Treneski and Blaževski remaining together and trying to disappear from everybody else, but they're not really being so successful because Nick Stefancic has really been doing it rather well, pushing Luka Flerin to the race lead, whether he likes it or not. They know that they have to help each other in order to be able to stay in touch, or actually get in touch with the leading duo, which they might just be doing. This is a fight a little further down the field. And again, bump drafting immediately. Pretty much no bumper has the original color of the car or the shape. And Marko Blaževski snatching the race lead now off the hands of Stefan Treneski. Stefancic together with them, so he's used the pole sitter Luka Flerin to bring himself into the fight for the race lead, and now has left him in fourth and is trying to stay in touch together with the leading duo on his own, choosing a different line than the leading pair. Now getting back in the slipstream, just a dab of brakes into the first corner. Blaževski's front bumper already showing big signs of being used to push. It's all bent inwards. Yeah, but Stefancic is now losing touch. He did not manage to stay together with the leading duo for now, as we are slowly approaching halfway of the race. We did 9 laps yesterday. Let's see how many we can do in this year's, not this year's, but today's race. Stefan Trenesky and Marko Blaževský again cooperating in order to get rid of Nick Stefancic, who's trying to stay together with them. That was a smart move. That was a good drive through the left-hander from Stefancic, who immediately springs himself back in the fight for the race win and for the race lead for now, of course. That was some great driving on the infield section from Stefancic, who from the second to last row on the grid is now bringing himself into the fight for the race win and is even actually pouncing. That was a late braking maneuver. I'm not really even sure whether he did not surprise himself in that situation, very nearly taking out Marko Blaževský, and the order is now completely on top of its head because it is Trenesky back in the lead from Stefancic, Blaževský third, Luka Flerin pushing himself together with Nikola Jancic in fourth and fifth, trying to get back in the leading group, and behind them it's what, 5-6 cars maybe behind one another. Matyáš Kučera, I see him on top of the group, maybe with Nikola Jancic and Trojsovička, and also Tai Kovacic and Giovanni Grasso must be there somewhere, and maybe even together with Lukáš Holík, who also started from the front row of the grid. Stefancic pushing Stefan Trenesky, and as we are moving to lap 5, still ahead of the halfway marker. I believe that same is going to happen like yesterday, that we should reach the last lap just before the time will be up, which means that we should be able to do 9 laps in this race as well. And is that Václav Janík? Appears to be, with a lot of damage to the front of his car. And the car really battered from pretty much every side. Václav Janík Jr. all the way down in 17th. I believe we did not see all the cars start. Yes, Pavel Savička did not enter the race in the end at all. We did have him in the grid proceedings, however he was not present on the start. 11 minutes to go. Blaževský not really keeping up with the race leaders, so falling behind in third. Then there is Jancic also running alone, and this is Luka Flerin in the, well, maybe rather red car, together with Trojsovička. Savička now ahead. That means in fifth. They've also left Matyáš Kučera behind. who has dropped down to 10th for now. And there it is, the fight for the race lead. Nick Stefancic, for the first time this race, properly grasping it. He was already momentarily first, but really for just a couple of meters before he was overtaken again, as he was went deep into the left-hander in the middle part of the track. But now he's properly back in the lead with Stefan Treneski together with him. And this is also important for the championship itself, because Treneski is up there with the best, also scoring heavily this season. But had already a huge gap behind Stefancic entering this round, so he definitely needs to score well this weekend and actually beat Nick Stefancic if he wants to remain in any sort of chance for the season finale. They did have what was the advantage yesterday before the race? 86 to Stefancic, 49 for Treneski. And I'm just going to look at the result from yesterday's race number 1, the Twingo Cup. Race 1 official. Stefan Treneski was third in that race, which gives him 15 points to bring him up to 64. That means trailing Stefancic by 22 points. And that means that if they, well, at least stay together, doesn't really matter in which order, then that will prevent the coronation for Nick Stefancic. And yeah, with actually 22 points between them, it is mathematically impossible now after the bad luck for Stefancic yesterday. So it is mathematically impossible for him to be crowned champion already here in Slovakia. Otherwise it was going to be possible, but with that bad luck and pretty much not scoring any points, that is off the table for now. That means that, ooh, and we have a safety car. We have a safety car because of what? Well, just to finish that, and we've got one of the cars stranded here. Okay, first let me finish that piece of information. We've still got one more round in a couple of weeks' time in Brno. 50 points up for grabs. So now it is mathematically impossible for Nick Stefancic to win the title here. Okay, let's try and figure out the number. Was it Mateusz Kuchera in trouble? Because I see him on the live timing screen dropping all the way down the order to 16th, being actually one lap down, and he will soon be also overtaken by Václav Janík. I believe that it is Mateusz Kuchera. Dark blue colors that would match the car, and yeah. What a frustrating way to end your weekend, and because the safety car is out, and we do have, well, it will take some time before that car is dragged away. I'm not really sure whether we will be even able to resume the race under green flag conditions. Now on one of the other cameras I see that it is actually Kuchera's car stranded on the side of the track, so the Czech driver out of contention for now. And yeah. Now it would be Nick Stefancic winning the race from Stefan Treneski and Marko Blaževský, yesterday's race winner. And we still have 4.5 minutes left. However, it is behind the safety car. Are we going to be able to restart the race at all or not? There is already a rescue vehicle at the scene of the incident. Everybody now driving slowly behind the safety car, of course. It's a high-speed section of the track where Mateusz Kuchera left his car. Of course, that is then absolutely clear that we cannot stay under green conditions, or maybe with just local yellows. The car needs to be tracked away because it is standing directly on the track. There he is. Yeah, first the marshals need to remove a bit of the car to even get themselves somewhere where they can hook the car. Should be on the front crash structure. Mateusz also helping them to lift the bonnet. Okay, the bonnet will go on the pickup truck. And yeah, they had to somehow cut through and see through the front bumper to find where they can actually hinge the car, which they have done now. And yeah, honestly, if we do not restart the race at the end of this lap, then we will not be able to restart it at all. And since the car of Mateusz Kuchera is still on the track, I don't think we have already been able to give out that signal, although it will take some time for the Twingos, even at full speed, to reach that place once again. It is still, I believe, out of, well, off the table that we will be able to restart it, because the safety car would have to have its lights off now, and it does. Oh, it does. That's good. So the race control has acted flexibly, which is great for us, because in that case we are going to get one more lap of racing action. And maybe you remember a Twingo Cup race, was it last year or was it 2 years back, when the race leader in exactly such situation simply decided, I do not want to restart the race because I'm 1,000,000% sure that I'm going to lose the first position. So he blocked everybody until the time was up, only to go across the line to score the victory. But that's not happening today. And Nick Stefancic, yeah, he's not afraid of it. He's taking on the challenge. He's also showing Treneski, come with me, let's help each other, let's not allow anybody else to fight with us. They are trying to keep away from the slipstream for everybody else, but not really succeeding. So at least for the final lap, we have got everybody, well, nearly everybody bunched up together. So final lap in today's race. That also means that thanks to the safety car, the race is actually one lap shorter than yesterday. Stefancic so far still leading. Marko Blaszewski gesticulating inside his car, maybe trying to show Jancic, come with me, help me. We need to get them. And then there are two pairs fighting for the victory. Who is going to come out on top? It has just got a lot more exciting for the final race of the weekend. And there they go, hard under braking into turn number 3. No changes there. Still Stefancic trying to somehow cooperate with Treneski. There is Trojsovička in the pale blue car ahead of Giovanni Grasso. So the time will be up soon, but the top 4 is now closely together. So there we go. Final lap, final race, and the race has been thrown wide open thanks to the safety car. Time is up right now. Let's see who will be the smartest, or maybe the most opportunistic, or maybe the luckiest. Final lap of the race, and it is still the championship leader, Nick Stefancic, up ahead. But will he be able to keep that position? You can still hear from the ambient microphones the rear bumper on the car of, I believe that was Lukáš Holík, being dragged on the asphalt. And there was already an overtaken attempt by Treneski, but we are now off to the final sector. I still remember a couple of years back how Nick Stefancic snatched a crucial place to become a series champion here on the final lap in the final corner of the final race. And today he is the one leading. Is he going to be overtaken? He's gluing his car to the inside. But how about Treneski? He's trying to make a move around the outside, but careful also about Marko Blaževský, yesterday's race winner. They are now making their way around the final corner. This should already be looking good for Nick Stefancic, but is it? Because Blaževský is now pushing each other with Treneski. 32 thousandths of a second across the line, but I believe that it was Nick Stefancic who was first. Now the question is, does everybody have the transponder in the same spot, on the same, let's say, place inside the car? Or is it a photo finish, and do we need to wait for the photograph? Because at least according to graphics, it should actually be Nick Stefancic who is the winner of the race number 2. But it was just 32 thousandths of a second. Treneski went for it together with Blaževský, tried to help him. They really tried to push each other. That was a good tactic. However, it seems as though it didn't work. Nick Stefancic taking a victory, and actually on the final lap of the race, Taj Kovačič set the fastest lap, and he was the only driver ever to lap this track under 3 minutes, 2:59.9. For Taj Kovačič, that's how fast he was. That's how much he maybe received help from somebody else in the bump drafting battle. Either way, according to the graphics, it is Nick Stefancic taking a victory, having started, well, all the way down in 15th. He scores the victory. Stefan Treneski in second from Marko Blaževský. Nikola Jančič in fourth from Taj Kovačič, Trojsovička, Giovanni Grasso, Luca Flerin, Lukáš Holík and Zal Rezar moving his way up to the top 10. Behind it, Bojan Šeme, Karolína Průšová, Václav Janík Jr., Roman Roubíček, Oliver Steiner, Antonius. And, well, Antonius already finishing one lap down. Oliver Steiner now finished in 15th. Antonius finishing one lap down. And Mateusz Kučera not finishing the race at all. So that was the final race of the weekend, finishing pretty much in the photo finish, but I believe that from the footage that you've just seen, it became quite clear that it is actually really Nick Stefancic taking the victory, being slightly ahead across the line. The live timing measured it at 32 thousandths of a second, which is pretty much nothing. And with that will be all from Slovakia. There will also be another race in 2 weeks' time for Twingo Cup. It will be already the season finale in Brno at the Masaryk Racing Circuit, but some series will still go at the end of September for the next round in Hungary at the Balaton Park. But I really want to thank you for joining us and for watching the entire weekend. It's been a pleasure. It's been a great racing weekend. But it is time to go, and with the results of the final race, it is time to say our of course last and the warmest of goodbyes. Have fun, take care, and see you next time.